another thing I'm supposed to get online too. I spent a lot of money right now over it because my car's insurance it goes out tomorrow.
Oh, but
So the thing is, I didn't have insurance for a while. I canceled it because I got the card,
yeah,
but I had a fee, I guess, that I
really?
need to pay for like canceling it. $260, bro.
No way.
And then, the sticker, my card, it's expired this month. I don't have this card for like later. So we have
But
I'm like, I mean, I have money to pay for it. Like, if I'm still thinking I'll spend my policy that's like expire tomorrow. Just we have it renewed. I'm like, really blow my mind. I'm like, tired of it.
yeah,
Policy. And I was checking. I was like, once you renew it, you gotta pay this fee. I'm like, what fee? All of it in there. They were taking calls, asking texts and verses. I canceled this thing a long time ago.
but
The cancellation fee. And we bought like y'all are at the source. I need it because if I don't have one, I can't work.
yeah,
Well, I can work, but I can't.
like the we you can get someone.
I just hate it. And there's it. That's like $240. You know, and then
It'll be alright.
I paid for this month already. So I got the rent ready.
Yeah,
Already paid the only thing I paid the internet, but pretty much everything stupid work.
yeah.
Always 27, and it's only $75.
Oh,
Yeah, so 3 ways between us. I'll just material here. We'll talk about that.
for sure, yeah.
It seems like life is always due the next month, usually on the 10th or like the 17th.
Yeah,
So it's been a good amount of time.
for sure. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah.
Usually us like don't pay much. We pay sometimes it's 130.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Small place, yeah. It's like it's a lake pretty much too.
How's the room in the bar closed?
I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I was thinking too. Is when my first roommate, yeah, that's all he really had, but he was down here in some PlayStation. He said it would get really hot.
Yeah. You could also do it too, but it's like this one's like I guess
Really crazy.
it's making like if it's CD or plasma, it's only meant to plasma. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I've been seeing blogs of the Walmart stuff. Yeah, but they have the fucking adjustable weight station. Start getting everything.
Yeah, whenever you get that.
I guess this guy just didn't wait.
We were at it.
Thank you, sir. Hello? Hey? I'm here now. Sorry. Hey. Yeah. Sorry, I was on and you weren't. I thought, like, you know, I had some time, so. Okay. Good. Did I have? Okay. Damn, Rob was calling me too that he already found like a 3-bedroom place or something that we can jam out in, and he wanted to rent with me. So I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. I'll like rent both places out. Yeah, girl. No, I'm so lost without her, man. So how you doing? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. We still got time. What's going on? Are we already streaming? Cool, cool, cool. How much time do I got? Time to get a drink real quick? Okay. All right. I was gonna take a swig. I just brought the whole bottle, so here we go.
Hello, hello.
Greetings.
We're back. We're up.
We up.
We up. This is Secret Beachside Chat with Corey Feldman. We're here in another secret beachside location on Jeffrey Epstein's beloved, world cherished pedophile island. We have taken it over. We're here back at you. Now, you didn't hear it, but we're starting this. We do have Corey Feldman. He is back. He is back on the show, folks. Last
Hello,
time
everybody.
Yes, last time I had talked about last time on the show I was talking about how Corey Feldman was absent due to some medical issues, due to a biological attack that was performed, that was done against his wife. Um,
Mhm.
so now we do have Corey Feldman here to set the record straight. What is going on? He did, he was going through a difficult time. So let's hear from the man himself. What happened here?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I always appreciate you having me on the show and letting me get my story out there. Me and my brother, my other brother Corey, rest in peace. You're
Anytime.
letting us get our setting the record straight.
The
Let her know,
only
boy.
people.
Yes, literally the only people.
Yes, we love all Corys everywhere, except the ones that are pedophiles, of course. But we do love Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, rest in peace. So your wife was paralyzed or something like
Yeah,
that. She was murdered. What happened?
my lawyers have told me not to discuss any of the murder aspect, but yes, she had been attacked by, I would say,
Damn,
psychically attacked, spiritually attacked by some entities that were draining her of energy. The doctors, the everybody could not figure out what exactly was wrong with her. They couldn't say. They couldn't. I don't know if they were maybe
it's terrible.
obliged, had to not discuss certain things, but
More than
yeah.
likely, yes.
And it was coincidentally after we started talking and discussing and having these open, chats about these important issues that this coincidentally kind of happened. So
I mean, that's always the thing, right? These quote unquote coincidences happen, and we're just supposed to ignore all of them. If one of them is a coincidence, all of them have to be a coincidence. Don't attribute malice what can be attributed to people just being dumb. You know what I mean? But that's a good way to cover all this stuff up is it's just a coincidence, right? Just so happens that right after we broke the stories, you broke your stories here that your wife was attacked by a paralyzing agent. I know you said we can't talk about the murder aspect due to legal aspects, but I don't think I personally am affected by that NDA. I am not a part of this illegal battle, so I will just say it right here right now, folks. Harvey Weinstein and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, they did conspire to inject a poison paralyzing agent into Corey Feldman's wife, and she has been paralyzed for the last 5, 6 months. Anything that you see online, coming from her posts, anything like that, it's not actually her. It has been it has been a secret agent this whole time that has been living undercover as his wife. I think in some occasions the secret agent did actually perform fellatio on you, but I know you can't talk about this. But
Yeah,
let's just say
yeah.
this agent is very convincing, almost like a shapeshifter, and that's how these people
Mm,
get. This is how these people get away with all this. Is they're very sneaky. They're very easily can manipulate you in thinking that they're a regular person, and they've attacked
yes.
you personally. They've attacked me, and now they got your wife.
Yes, they have took her from me. I'm here wifeless, uh, because of these people.
It's
And
fucked up.
it's just, I mean, honest, sad to say, it's a sacrifice that must be made in order to bring these people down.
Now let me. Now we can't. Again, you can't discuss the murder aspect. But is she still your wife?
Legally, on paper, yes.
Okay. On paper, she is. So how does that work whenever you are married to someone who has become, let's say, quote unquote, dead? How does that work? Are you still married to him? Is there like a spiritual thing going on?
There probably will be, I'm legally obliged to not associate with her persons or her spirit as well. I do have a restraining order, so.
Ah, fuck. So you have put out the restraining order, not her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
My lawyer advised I should do that, and that I should focus on gathering more angels. You know.
Now, whenever there is a spirit that's trying to contact you and you do have a restraining order against him, what is the type of legal repercussions that you can enact upon the spirit? Such as how do you exactly enforce it? Is there somebody that comes through, in the spirit world and, takes her to court? How does this work?
Oh, there's certain. It was again. It was for me to not get close to the spirit, I suppose. So I guess I would be fined because I mean yeah, it's utterly ridiculous. What are you gonna do against a spirit? This is their world, and we're just living in it. But I can gather angels to help, protect me against them. I suppose that's what helps out on that front.
Now, this is one thing that's been going through my mind. Do you think it is possible that she has, been working with these people because she's mad about these angels? She's jealous.
No, no, I've said this countless times. The angels are not the problem. All right, let's just stop talking about the angels. It's not their fault.
Okay, but there is somebody who might want to talk about the angels because they're jealous about the angels. I'm not saying I personally, am jealous of them.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a jealousy is a natural human emotion, and these angels they're angels, and they chose me, so I can understand how anybody would naturally feel these things. Don't worry, but uh,
I've missed you.
it's
I've
not.
missed you on the show. All right, let's.
Yes, I understand. The angels have kept me away.
How many angels would you say you have about right now? How many of them?
I mean, how many angels did God have, working for him before it all went down? So,
I mean, so you're saying that you have now officially commanded all available angels, that God used to have all angels and now you are commanding them.
I'm not allowed to say.
Not at liberty. Is that also part of the NDA agreement, the restraining order?
It's a part of another one, a higher
Another one.
order, a higher order of, yes,
A higher order of restraining order. Yes.
yes, a
I
higher
we
order of laws that govern this world.
You've been officially banished from pretty much every location that I know about.
Yeah.
I personally tried to go into a McDonald's with you one time, and they somehow knew you, even though we've never been to that we had never been to that location before, but they somehow knew exactly who you were.
I shouldn't have been doing the dance when I was ordering.
I mean, part of it is, being a celebrity, Corey Feldman. Of course, people are gonna recognize you. But usually it would be kind of like an embrace and acceptance. Over the years I've noticed it kind of change from people who are excited that you are in their favorite movies, such as The Goonies.
Hey,
And now it's turned into, they're upset for some reason that you're talking about pedophilia, which I don't understand. Why
they don't
anybody would
want
be
their
upset.
bubble burst of their comfortable little world, and
Yeah.
it's understandable. They're the salt of the earth. They roll up their sleeves, they get their hands dirty, they work at their menial jobs, and they're never gonna get to this level of fame or of angels or anything. And it's understandable.
Now, for being one of these people, myself personally, I look up to you as, it is attainable. There is something that is attainable, but it seems that the trade-off is, getting your butthole criscoed up.
That does appear to be the price.
Okay. So yeah, so we have these salts of the earth folks, which, we got to be honest, Corey, without these salts of the earth, you wouldn't be able to afford your Michael Jackson suits and stuff. We do need these
Absolutely.
salts of the earth folks to follow you. But at the same time, yeah, it's kind of like a jealous, envious rage that they are not, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, they want to submit, they want to be right next to you, they want to be among their greats. They want to be in a 80s vampire movie and have people love them and want to fuck them. And
Doesn't.
yeah, and the thing is that very few of them realize what it takes, which is the butthole Crisco. And then the people who do realize that, there are a small subset of those who willingly spread their ass for the Crisco.
Absolutely. Some
Okay.
people wholly have bought into the whole culture, of prostitution essentially to the extreme. They've embraced it. Absolutely. It went from being having a sense of self or, an individuality or integrity to, well, this is what you do. This is the best smart move you could make. Just pre-Crisco your ass and walk backwards with spread open into the meeting room.
Yeah, I mean, I see plenty of regular people. These aren't, they're not celebrities, nothing, but they regularly bleach their asshole,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's no good use for this unless that is a basis of your life is taking it in the ass, Chris going up, and so these people willingly they start changing their lives in ways that like, to a normal person it seems radical, it seems insane, and so they must start to normalize it.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's got to have a bleached asshole. Everybody's got to think Millie
It,
Brown from Stranger Things is sexy even though she's fucking
oh
ugly.
yeah.
Everybody has to go along with these things,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems that that was your price to pay, which I'm really sorry for that. But what do
Yeah.
you think of, let's say you have this documentary you've been pushing, the rape of two Corys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get that out there, folks. The Rape of Two Corys. You must check this out. And
Yep.
so we have someone like you who didn't want this to happen. You were just, you wanted to be a child star. You didn't know about this. And then when you got into the business, lo and behold, this is what you had to do. And there's other, let's talk about the Me Too movement. So how do you feel about people like, Jennifer Lawrence and stuff like that, who willingly, let's be honest, folks, no matter what story you agree with, she was taken advantage of, quote unquote, but she did willingly suck Harvey Weinstein's little tranny dick in order to
Oh,
get in
that chick.
movies and to get, yeah. And then afterwards, when it's no longer beneficial to them to, be with their masters, they try to yeah, they try to usurp them and revolt and, try to paint themselves as the victim, when this whole time they were willingly letting themselves be Criscoed up. And now this is just the next step in their power, their climb to
Of
power.
course.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's absolutely something somebody could, abuse that type of situation where they do these things that just have already been going on since, however long. People just, scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of thing. And could be under the table, fuck it. Like, I mean, yeah, we are a fucking president, themselves. literally had his dick sucked in the White House too. So it's not like that big of a stretch of imagination. Like, oh my God, this is some heinous act. Like, he didn't corner her. He didn't just throw fucking rape her in the bathroom stall, like gagging her and taping her up or
As he
something.
should have.
Or
Yeah.
it's just like he might as well have. That's the funny thing. Like, you know, because he got all the fucking flack anyway. So I mean, what is his face? Matt Lauer was actually more disturbing than Weinstein, wasn't it? Because he literally had the button that locked the door, like under his desk.
Exactly. So I mean, yeah. How do you even do that? You know, just how do you even like set up your desk to have this, and it's not like suspicious in any
Oh
way.
yeah, yeah, I know. Like I'm a boss, and this is my room, and I need to be able to lock it when I need. That's it.
Yeah, and like who does it? Did he do it himself? Did he look up a YouTube video? Did he hire like a private contractor to come in? Like when I push this button, I want the door to remain locked. And, you know, the private contractor didn't ask any questions at all.
He's
You
like,
know.
it'll lock from the outside. Yeah, like no, I want it to lock from the inside. Like wait, wait, what? No, I
I'm,
want it so you cannot unlock it only from this secret button here, though.
I mean, it
Why?
seems.
Why
I'm
do
sorry.
you need this, sir?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a fire hazard. Like a private contractor, it seems like he wouldn't be able to even make that. You know, like
And
how,
here's that's the thing, though. So they all know they're in
exactly,
on it. They clearly, like there's
exactly.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
There
You can
was. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll just say you could say it's a very high probability, but essentially yes, it's so high you could say yes, it that's they knew.
Yeah, somebody had to know. Somebody had to know. Somebody had to approve the private. I mean, let's be honest. He didn't pay for this with it. He didn't say, "Oh, hey guys, I'm having a private contractor come into these multi-million-dollar NBC offices and you know, I'm just doing a little touching up in my office." There had to be paperwork. You know, went up the chain. Anybody who's worked at a corporate office knows that there's no way any of this shit got done with somebody above Matt Lauer going, "Oh, sure, I do. Of course, you need a locking door. I mean, terrorists could just come in at any time and be shooting up the place. We need Matt Lauer to be protected inside of his fucking office. Somebody
Yes,
approved
sir.
this."
Mhm.
And so, what I got from this, Corey, is that you are upset that you were Criscoed up, but that you don't harbor any resentment towards people like Jennifer Lawrence who do take part in this. I mean, that's what I got from it.
'Cause I mean, they're willingly in that situation, and they're an adult as well. You know, I didn't get Criscoed up as an adult. Like
Hmm.
I wasn't invited into a room. I was thrown in between two trailers, and that's it. And then right back to shooting. So that's I would say it's a little different. I'm not some chick, some pretty little thing that some old man just wanted to trade a job for. I was doing my job. I had already gotten it. And then this was just on top of that.
Hey, that is something I didn't consider. You did put in the talent required to get this job before putting up your butt for being Chris Code.
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't think about that before. You did actually get into the system
Mm-hmm.
on your own merit. Your beautifully chiseled baby face was
Yes.
great for the camera, and they needed you on there.
And then
And
afterward,
mhm.
that was it. That's all they wanted to hire me for, my Crisco ass.
Frisco ass. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, nobody has been able to determine. What I want to see is the difference between the shot that you shot before you got raped and the shot after, and then see if anybody can tell. Like, you know what I mean? The look in your face, maybe you've been crying, something like that.
You can see it in my eyes. The
Hmm.
soul has somewhat left.
Yeah, you're hardened, as they say. Your face became hardened.
Yeah.
You could no longer go back to your youth and being naive.
Absolutely. That's real PTSD right there. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Now, whenever you were shooting the Lost Boys, was there any kind of that feeling, like, when you're shooting it, it's all fake, you're on set, but was there any part of that like played on you where you did kind of get like a PTSD, like, thinking the vampires were Corey, can't even remember his name, Charlie Sheen?
I mean, it's always something, especially when you're shooting. It's just always there in the back of your mind, you know. It's not something that just leaves you.
Is this part of why you have surrounded yourself with the angels? I mean, obviously, obviously there's all that whole thing with your wife and the spirits and all this, but I mean, you could surround yourself with regular, with like a harem of regular women. Is there a reason why they have to be angels? And
Yes, because angels protect you. You know, they're beings of good.
okay.
They're beings that ward away the evil, Crisco, anal raping demons.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it seems to me before I met you, Corey, before we started doing this podcast together, and I'd never met you before that, but before we started doing this, it was pretty obvious for me looking at you that, yeah, when you're hurt as a child, you have these things that you kind of gravitate toward to try to, make yourself feel better. And of course, angels is I mean, it's almost like an exaggeration, no offense, but it's like
Mm.
so damaged that it's like, yeah, the only thing that can save me is like these beautiful angels surrounding me.
Yes, because what do you do when you're stuck in
Mhm.
hell?
I that
Have you
yeah.
seen? Have you seen my album covers? They're pulling me out of hell. They're pulling me up, out.
And I mean, I hate to go back to this, but as somebody, I personally haven't had this happen to me, but I just look at people like you, and I look at people like Jennifer Lawrence and Gwyneth Paltrow, all these people who willingly put themselves in these positions, and then later they claim that they didn't want it, and yada yada, and it's all in the pursuit of power. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very obvious and clear. Now, people have been accusing you of the same thing with the needing, $10 billion or whatever it is in order to name the people's names.
Oh, for the rape to Corey, I mean, that's just how much money it takes to make a movie sometimes.
I hadn't considered that either. I am not in the Hollywood sphere, so yeah, I really don't know the budgets on these kind of things.
It's understandable. Most people don't.
Yeah, I've shot a movie before. The budget was about $5. So I
It must
really
have been
have
a
no.
pretty small movie, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there was definitely no angels, definitely no stars of your
Mm.
caliber, Corey.
Uh,
You know.
That's understandable.
Well, I mean, seems like we do need to put a kibosh on this since there are some NDAs in effect. I guess we have to navigate that legally. Um, and I myself, I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a wife, but I am afraid for myself and others. And I definitely don't want to deal with no spirits, haunting me and being around me. Definitely no paralyzed spirits, which to me seems like it would be less frightening because they can't move or anything, but I don't know.
I
It just
thought
seems really creepy.
you had something like that happen to you before.
Yeah, but not in a
You were.
while. And so yeah, I definitely don't want to open that back. I do think about that sometimes, and I try to meditate, and I try to go back to when I was younger, and I would, so and so channel spirits, and waking up in the middle of the night yelling
Oh
for my
yeah.
parents to kill me and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously a very thin line between this reality and another one, and it's very easy. It's very easy to go back and forth once you kind of know what it is, but you know. Okay, so these angels, you said you have a lot of them. They're from God. What kind of things do you do with these angels? If you can be so explicit.
As explicit as possible.
Yes.
I I mean, that's just for me to know and the angels to find out.
Now, would you say any of these angels themselves are in a Crisco situation with you?
Well, absolutely not.
Absolutely
The,
not.
yeah, I have vowed ever since that day, whenever that atrocity had been happened to me, that I would never, never use Crisco.
So when you put out calls, like I'm looking for angels, and it comes with the explicit written, I'm looking for angels that are very, vulnerable and need some kind of guidance in their life. So that's just you trying to help them because they are vulnerable. You're not trying to use them because they are vulnerable.
You see, because not a lot of people have gone through what I've gone through, and I've come out a strong man, a strong person, and some people need guidance. So therefore, who else, who better to offer guidance to these angels?
So do you mean you're intentionally Criscoing these angels in order to give them their own little journey to becoming power? Well?
No, I don't have to Crisco them.
Mm. Now there are allegations. I don't remember her name. I think her name was Jessica. She did actually accuse you and your wife, maybe ex-wife, whatever at the time, that you both were using them and Criscoing them up, and you never paid them what they were supposed to get paid for doing speaking of Matt Lauer, you didn't pay them for their NBC appearances.
Well, the money issue is something else. And like I said, I've never used Crisco.
Oh, I get you. I get you. Crisco is the problem here. Okay. S- I mean, personally, Astroglide, I've heard of that one. I like some little fire and ice on there. What about you?
No, those are good. Oh.
Just generic,
Yes.
just generic lubes that you use on these angels.
If not, saliva.
Saliva, always good. Now, are you worried about one of these angels stealing your saliva or something like that?
Oh, I'd be worried about them stealing a lot more than that.
Such as your money, or
A lot more than that.
a lot more than that. I'm gonna have to think about this one because again, I'm not all up on this stuff, so I'm trying to figure out what I could ask you, where we can go with this, because I do know some of your answers are intentionally vague because of the NDNA, and I know you can't say why. But me personally, I did have a run-in with your wife one time, and she said some things to me that really did seem suspect. And I never said it to you because I really didn't know you at the time, and I didn't think it was my place. But she did mention a lot of things about trying to steal your soul and your money and stuff like that. I don't know if you're aware of this.
If I was aware that she was telling you that she's trying to steal my soul and money, no.
Or okay, so you were aware she was trying to steal your soul and money, but you just looked past it.
I don't think I was aware.
You were always aware.
I don't think I was aware of that then.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it seems like with this evil spirit gone, well, not gone, but it seems that with this attack has done is liberated you, much in the same way that the attack on you as a child has liberated you and made you stronger. Would you say?
That yeah, usually how tragedies tend to empower.
And on a scale of well, not on a scale, but comparing the two, the Crisco and the paralyzing and eventual quote unquote death of your wife, which one has been better for you?
Which one has been better?
Yes.
Of all the
Yes.
what has been the least shitty thing?
Which has empowered you more? Which one?
I mean, I, I guess gotta go with the Crisco.
Crisco.
It's the first, most impactful. It set the tone and stage for the rest of my life.
No, something that I try to think about, obviously I don't remember everything, but one thing I try to think about is when you get like new information now about stuff in the past, stuff that would have happened, like the whole Bill Cosby stuff. You go back, like I mentioned with your movie, trying to go back and see if there's actually any signs of this, like in the videos and the movies and the media that we had at the time. And one thing that really struck to me coming out about this Crisco revelation that you had mentioned, all that my mind can think back to is Big Mama's house.
What?
Big Mama's house had a really big scene with Crisco. You don't remember this?
Oh God, dude.
Hmm. Now, so in Big Mama's house, let's remind everybody, this was Martin Lawrence, a black actor, a black comedian, who had to dress up as a big fat woman named Big Mama, okay, in order to I don't remember exactly. I think was he faking it? I think he was fake. I don't fucking remember the whole thing, but I think he was pretending to be a big fat lady. That way he can get closer to his ex-wife and his kid or something.
Isn't
But there
that
was
Mrs. Doubtfire?
there's many movies that are like this.
Or...
Yes, yes. And but there was a big scene with the Crisco where he had to lube up some chick's pussy or something with Crisco in order to get the baby to come out. Somebody
Holy
remember
shit!
this? Nobody remembers this shit. It's a really big part
I
of my childhood. You know,
I don't remember that part of that movie. Wow.
yeah, it's a big part of my childhood of Martin Lawrence, screaming, "Somebody get the Crisco!" And people were like, "What? What do we need Crisco for?" And he shows, he's showing the world that you can use Crisco as a lube. And I've never seen it referenced before. I've never seen it referenced after. I've never, Crisco. It's just a random joke in this movie, and I want to know like what are the ties, between that and him and you. Um, I
Maybe
mentioned he
Martin
was a black
Lawrence.
actor.
Yeah, and Charlie Sheen. Maybe they're friends.
Maybe not him, but the directors, because this is also a theme that Dave Chappelle has talked about, where they try to make these black people put on like dresses. They
Yeah.
try to make them put on like costumes and shit, anything for them to be funny, but not as an actual black person.
Yeah.
And so the powers that be, who made that movie and who are intentionally demoralizing and emasculating black people, are showing that this Crisco, it's out in the open. This is what they use as lube for some reason. I don't know
Black
what it
babies.
is. Like maybe there was somebody in the past who like started using Crisco, and that's just like when you get raped with Crisco, like then it's imprinted in your mind where like you can only use Crisco as lube. I don't know.
That maybe it's just gives you the best taste.
Okay, so speaking of you lube up the butt, you fuck it, and then you bake. You kill the kid. You grill them up, Marina Abramovich style. You cook with these kids, and that Crisco helps to retain the flavor and the juices, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, if it helps fry the butthole, I'm thinking.
Now, okay, so we have the Crisco, we have the Martin Lawrence, we have the Corey Feldman, we have the Jennifer Lawrence. Same last name? Is that a coincidence? Jennifer Lawrence, Martin Lawrence? I don't think so.
Oh shit!
I don't think so, folks.
It's all connected. It's all coming together slowly.
Another,
We're on.
an, yes, yes, it is all coming together. Um, I have a communication here actually, and I want to read this to you.
Oh,
I would put it on camera, but I don't. I don't know. Let me just kind of read through this and see. Hello, this is Corey Feldman's ex-wife. I am not dead. I have not been paralyzed. You and Corey Feldman are spreading lies, and I will be issuing a cease and desist for your podcast. I just got that right now.
oh, wow.
It also has some pictures of her titties, but so this
This is
I'm sorry.
this is clearly a hoax.
No, no, this is legit. This seems pretty legit.
I don't know about that.
You don't think you think I'm lying now, Corey? Is that what you're saying? You're one fan. You think I'm lying?
Because if you're telling the truth, then she's right, meaning that that you are lying.
No, I mean I'm
Yeah.
telling the truth as in that's what's in the text.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying it's lies.
But when you do a cease and desist, it doesn't really matter the truth. It's just
Ain't that
I think it's because we're
that's
we're
true?
mentioning her.
Mm.
I didn't know she was very litigious. I didn't know she was a very litigious person, but apparently there's all kinds of NDAs, restraining orders, all kinds of things going together.
Well, that's why I told you. Begin. There's a lot of things I can't talk about.
Okay, so one thing that was brought up when this was happening that it might have just been the symptoms of coronavirus and not just a biological attack on a random podcaster. What do you think?
That's just ridiculous. What are the chances of that?
What are the chances? Exactly. That's what I say. Especially when you're wearing your mask, you're doing everything properly. What are the chances?
Something has a 99% survival rate, and she happens to be the 1%. What doesn't? I don't know about that.
I mean, but if you think about it, of all the women in the world, she was your 1%, right? So I mean, it's not like it's a mathematical impossibility. Okay? No? Okay.
Jesus.
No? Too close, Corey. I'm sorry. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, Corey. You know, I forget I haven't known you that long. Just treating you like a regular old friend. Sorry.
Yeah.
I do, as a journalist, I do have some kind of responsibility to the audience.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
I've been told before, we can't just make up bullshit and lies and joke about it. We can't tell people that that you've gone out before without a mask. You literally nothing's gone wrong.
Yeah, we can't be saying that.
Here in Texas, we're gonna open up soon.
Yeah.
It's gonna be basically full range biological attack everywhere. I what I want to do is I want to go to a store and I just want to see like people coughing in the store and sneezing, and then like there's a group of other people that are trying to like execute them, like zombies and shit.
Hell yeah. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
getting there.
is it getting there? You think so? What about where you're from? You're in like what, California?
Oh yeah, I'm in heaven with my angels.
Yeah, you're in heaven with the angels. Yes.
Oh, well, aren't we on the beach side right now?
Yes.
We're
Yes,
on the
yes, we are on the
we're on the
beach.
island. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Not in
I,
Texas. Yes.
I was just high, so I forgot.
Me too. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
High on life.
I usually consider the Virgin Islands a part of Texas. I don't know why.
Texas is that big.
It's that big and it's that awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The Gulf of Mexico,
Gulf Coast.
third coast, bitches. We dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've it's been a couple weeks since we've had you on here. There's been some developments. There's been some changes. There's been some things going on. Um, just a lot of things, a lot of stuff, lot of stuff, a
A
lot of
lot of
things.
things behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
lot of weird ass shit going on.
Levers getting pulled, buttons being pushed.
Yep, for the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The
Uh,
wheel keeps on turning.
I saw this show recently. Since we are on a private island, Lost and all that. I did see a show recently with Ben from Lost in it, and he plays some really creepy ass fucking. He's like a I don't even know. He's like a lawyer slash therapist kind of guy, but he's like being tricked by the devil, or he's being, he's basically evil.
Oh,
Um, but
okay.
it is Ben from Lost playing this really like creepy character, and he's like threatening to kill this chick's kids and shit like that. He's really
He's a
trying
good
to,
villain. Yeah.
yeah, trying to make a guy turn into like an incel from 4chan and shit.
Hell yeah.
Like go into the what is it, like go into the gym and look at all the women that you want to shoot and pretend you're shooting them with your finger, shit like that.
What?
I don't know, dude.
Really?
Yeah, to like train the guy up in order to actually go in and shoot up everybody. He's like trying to
What?
turn him into an incel
Jesus.
shooter. Um,
All right. Damn.
and then at the end of the thing, this guy, he's like a typical nerd incel. He's there like getting his gear on, he's flexing up, getting ready to go do the shooting, and he accidentally shoots himself in the fucking head. And
What?
yeah, and then of course there's like a scene of Ben like looking at the news article, like fucking stupid, you couldn't do anything right, like oh
Oh.
man. And then he gets like on 4chan or YouTube, and he's looking up like a new incel guy to like
Hmm.
start grooming and start breeding and shit.
What in the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's the show is called Straight Up Evil. It's just called Evil.
Good God. Okay
Uh,
then.
Yeah. And then you find out, that this incel guy is like going to this Ben character. He's like his therapist or whatever. And he's just guiding him towards the evil path. And then at the end of the show, after this guy kills himself and Ben gets, quote unquote, kind of like gets defeated by the main character of the show, he goes to his own therapy session and he's in therapy with the Baphomet.
What?
Yeah, it's like a big old fucking Baphomet creature, 9 feet tall or whatever, sitting down in like a therapist chair, like taking notes, holding a pen with his hoof.
What?
Yep,
Jeez, man.
that's some. I don't know. It was pretty good. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I started watching it, and the shit was pretty off the hook,
This
off
guy
the
is straight
chain.
up evil. All right.
Every episode mentioned like all the talking points. Like, there was more than one episode about like racism, like
Oh. Well, of course, there's got to be.
Yeah, there was even one where like this black chick is goes to like a comedian's like stand up show, goes to talk to him afterwards, to, like befriend him and be like, hey, like let's fuck or whatever. I know who you
Yeah.
are. And then it turns out that she's like from Africa and so is this guy, and he was like a
But
comedian on a radio station that was like making jokes about the Tutsis, just like calling them cockroaches and saying how he's like gonna stomp on them and shit.
okay.
And then this chick is all mad, like, that's my family, they killed my family. And, she's
Oh,
like
man.
holding this guy hostage, wants to kill him because he's like a comedian. And
Uh,
he's literally there with like a knife or whatever, or a gun to his head, like talking about how he punches up and not down.
what?
Yep.
Good lord.
Yep. So
All
they're like,
right.
I swear I was punching up. The Tutsis were rich. They were powerful, I was punching up, not down.
Fuck.
Another episode where they're in like a hospital and there's two black patients in the same like room, and there's like a nurse that's coming around and just basically killing like all the black patients and keeping like their wristbands in her locker.
Jesus.
And it's all about how like the hospital is racist and shit like that, like the hospital system is racist,
Mhm.
whether intentionally or just through like negligence or whatever the fuck.
Just damn.
Of course, as I mentioned, the incels. There was an episode about the guy with the incels turning into an incel.
So this therapist guy is involved in all of them, or is just in one of the episodes, or
Oh yeah, Ben is a recurring like evil guy throughout the series.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So he's going against the main character, which is like some chick that's like she's like a therapist, right? So she's like the Scully in this series, where she like doesn't believe in any of this bullshit, but she
Yeah.
starts getting evidence and seeing
Mhm.
shit. And then her mom, she has like a mom that like she has come over to like raise her kids because like her husband's in the Himalayas, like being a Sherpa. Which is, if you
Mhm.
know anything about that, that makes no sense. Most Sherpas are like fucking literally like from their Sherpas. But here's some white guy from the U.S. that's like, yeah, my job is to go to the Himalayas and teach people how to go up the mountain.
Yeah, that's a little fucking ridiculous, you ask me.
But her mom is there to like take care of her kids and raise her, and she's like a typical like terrible grandma, like lets the kids pretty much do whatever and doesn't give a fuck. And then Ben starts like going behind the main character's back and like seduces her mom and like starts fucking her mom, and her mom's like
What?
falling in love with him.
What?
Yeah. And so
Jesus.
Ben's like getting through to her mom, and then the chick like sees Ben at the house, and he's like giving these secret. He's like teaching the kids how to draw like secret satanic sigils and shit to like call the beast and all kinds of other shit. But he's like fucking this chick's mom and turns her evil, makes her like steal shit from her daughter and yada yada.
Damn.
The black guy, the main black guy, he's like a priest or a pastor, and he sees God, and the way he sees God is by doing mushrooms.
Oh, hell yeah.
So he's like sitting there in his room, like doing mushrooms, like looking up at the skies and like these fucking symbols and all kinds of shit. Imagining he's in the wheat field and like Satan is coming with a scythe and shit like that.
Oh, fucking A. That's
Um,
pretty interesting.
trying to remember what the fuck else happened. I don't know. It was a lot of shit. But Ben is definitely a evil. Is a good evil person. Pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. The creepy fucking look on his face, man.
Yeah, Jared, evil. Yeah, he took the mushrooms and disappeared. It's one of those shows. Yeah, like it doesn't seem good, and then like if you get into it, it's I don't know. It's good enough.
Yeah,
It
sounds
hits
cool.
all the checks all the marks for me. It has a ridiculous Baphomet guy in a therapist chair. I'm all for it. I'm all fucking for it.
uh,
I was trying to remember something else. Yeah, but it was like an episode about racism from like slaves and shit.
right.
It just tries to cover all the fucking, hit all the culture fad topics.
All
People
the
are hating
way.
against gay
Yeah,
people,
people
and
could be
that's
evil.
devil, satanic. Of course. So, I mean, this is obviously a thing that's been around since the beginning of time. Good, evil, the Bible, Talmud, all this shit. People are very aware of these concepts of these things, but it seems like it's we have to find every single thing that we can to like say that it's not real. Oh well, the devil's not literally here before me, strucking his dick, so I guess Satan isn't real.
Yeah, it's so easy. You gotta make it your whole identity. Just scoff at this shit and just like, I'm gonna show them, like, like, oh, you believe that? Well, I believe my fucking butthole talks, and therefore it's true, right?
Where is
like,
your proof?
okay.
So I mean, where are you after all this? You have the angels, the spirits. Where would you say you are religious? Are you agnostic or what's going on?
I mean, it probably does lean more towards agnosticism, whereas you're still at the end of the day never really sure. But it's definitely like leaning towards there being something though, like rather than nothing. I guess I could say if that's a position. Yeah. So it's like I'm not fully sure, but I feel there definitely is something. Like whether it's like Valis, whether it's some sort of mask, previously man-made, constructed, you know, uh, AI or God or something, or if it was something that came before, humans at all, or if it is just fucking some alien God thing, or if it is the Saturnian fucking Gnostic shit and got some what's his face Yahweh or some motherfucking false god that's just created us and trapped us here. It's just I don't know. It's hard to be so like cocky and arrogant and thinking like, oh yeah, for sure, there's fucking nothing. You know what I mean? It's just like the odds or the bets don't seem to be in favor, I guess, of that.
So what do you say when people have this stupid question? When they're like, if there is a God, how could he let poor little Corey Feldman get Criscoed up? What would that be your response?
Like it's like a parent who has a kid, and then whenever they're not looking, the kid fucking you know gets a fork and stabs a dog in the eye or something, and it's just like, how could this like, dude, you can't watch them all the time. Shit, like, it's like, and he also gave us free will, so I guess yeah, there's people who have the free will to Crisco other people up. Unfortunately.
or as the canon is that God is doing his best to like put all these people on the right path, and he can't watch them all the time, as you said. And then when he steps away, that's when Satan creeps in the room. Is like, hey, little boy, check out 4chan or whatever the fuck it
Or,
is.
or it's just like individually too, because obviously you can say like Charlie Sheen was listening more to the Satan on his shoulder than the Jesus. That was Jesus is like, no, you gotta love this kid, and Satan like, yeah, you gotta really love this kid's butthole, like. And it's just he listened to the wrong voice technically. But that's another thing in America, especially in Hollywood and all that. These are like cesspools. Just a whole bunch of just it's like Sodom and Gomorrah times itself squared. The
Yeah, I mean that's literally what we see throughout time. Everything antimatter, matter, ones, zeros. I mean it's got to be some kind of battle going on. some kind of thing going on. People like Alex Jones and others, they attribute it where there's like a higher realm of consciousness, and at the very top would be God and heaven, and then on the bottom, it's lower levels of negativity, consciousness, and at the bottom of that is Satan. And
Yeah, yeah.
it really does seem that like the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, we are the bridge. This is the bridge between two kind of worlds, or the meeting places of two
Yeah,
different bubbles of reality. And
absolutely.
so obviously we have to be like, we're not infallible.
Open. Yeah, we got to be open to. Honestly, at the end
Hmm.
of the day, that's all it is. Like, to not be dogmatic in anything. Don't be like dogmatically like, oh, 100% always this, or like always at least feel like you'd be open to some possibility to even entertain an idea. Like not a lot of people could even do that. Like, oh, I can't entertain that. That sounds some what Lord of the Rings esque shit. That's not fucking reality. Where's the peer reviewed Snopes fucking verified article that
Hmm.
like why the fuck would I waste my time with this fiction? Like, it's like, Jesus, dude, you don't have to be so personally offended. It's like the new SJWs, you know what I mean? Like somebody fucking quoted scripture to me, like, oh, how dare they? Like, did they not know I'm fucking offer Satan? God, like,
Yeah,
they get upset just like a tranny would for someone misgendering them. It's like, okay,
yeah. There seems to be a worshiping of nihilism, like a worshiping, being stuck to the idea that like nothing means anything, everything is
yeah.
worthless, everything,
Oh yeah. There's
um,
plenty of artists who exude that too, or like, yeah, I was seeing this weird movie when the cradle will rock or whatever the fuck, and like it was pretty interesting. But it's just this one scene, and it's just these aristocrats talking about like art because there's this new play and art pieces that are coming out, and they're talking about how like avant-garde, shit is the future, stuff that's post meaning, and it's just like, oh yeah, and like nothing has to mean or like make sense or mean anything anymore. Just now it's just it has to just look weird or different or whatever, capture attention. Like that's the age
mhm,
going to, and that was taking place technically in 20s or 30s. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So I
Yeah, they were
I
already there. Yeah.
I exactly. So we're definitely like post that.
I think people say we're like post nihilism or something like that, or post
And
irony. Like right now
then
we're in the
people
post
always
irony.
I don't know, people always quoting or misquoting, saying like, "Oh yeah," and then Nietzsche, like who like created nihilism or whatever. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like this nigga wasn't even promoting it or anything either. He was saying how God is dead, that we killed him, and the effects, the negative effects that happen from that, and the need for this Ubermensch like mentality, whatever.
Yeah, as we have reviewed here, Jared saying, God isn't omnipotent. That's kind of the view, is that he's omnipotent. So yeah, that would mean that God isn't omnipotent, or at least maybe he's like us, just on a different form, where he's just doing his best. He's trying to do his
Yeah,
best, guys.
exactly.
He doesn't know what the fuck to do. He doesn't know what the fuck. He's sitting
Could
there
be.
like, sorry.
Yeah, it's like it's an experiment. It's a alien ant farm. You know what I mean? You're this guy, and he's just trying to figure out, like, oh shit, I can't do that because they're gonna fuck each other to death. Like,
And I don't know. Whenever there is some of these things that come up, like, it's really hard to not feel like a smug piece of shit, because you have, like you said, you have people that are like misquoting Nietzsche and shit. And it's like, yeah, I remember when I was like 13, 14, reading Nietzsche, and I thought I thought I understood all of this
oh
shit, you know
yeah,
what I
oh
mean? And
yeah,
it's like, that's where they're at right now, at like 20 some 30 years
yeah,
old.
yeah.
And it's hard to like look down, or it's hard to like
I know, I
cast
know.
on them without being smug and shit,
Yeah,
like,
not feeling that. Uh huh.
hmm especially being someone, me personally, I'm not like a philosophy major or whatever. I never finished, so like, I just got enough to where I'm like, all right, I'm not, I don't want to be that pretentious and shit, and like label everything, like, oh well, that's whatever Kierkegaard or whatever the fuck. I'm like, I got enough to get what I need.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. But when
Oh yeah.
people are kind of like there's no.
Just like to name drop. They like to flex. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah. Like the same people who point out like fallacies all the time. Like
Oh yeah.
they never actually like interact or discuss or anything. Like, oh, well, that checks the mark for whatever fallacy. Like they don't have any.
Checkmate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, well, that's a slippery slope. Oh, like that's reductivism. Oh,
Yeah, like that's where it ends right there. Just like, oh well, that's that stupid. Like,
well, as you see, this is called whatever the fuck Sansol said. Reductivism or whatever the fuck it is.
oh yeah.
It's like we get it, we get it.
I love how like we've only talked to him like once or twice, and we still talk about this guy. Like he just left that much of an impact.
I mean, it's not
Um,
even really an impact. It's just that yeah, that as you said, it's like that was our one little
uh-huh.
foray into this. Until the next time, until
Yeah, that's true.
somebody else that we get in an argument with, and
Oh
stupid
yeah.
shit like that. I just think like he's a good. I'm glad that you brought my attention to him because I do look at everything he's doing, and he's just like he does represent everything that we, or at least I
Yeah.
hate,
Yeah.
everything that
Oh
I
yeah.
don't
I
respect.
understand.
You know, sitting there 8 hours, which hey, I'm not doing anything better, but he's like sitting there on a 9-10 hour political discussion Twitch, and
Yeah.
there's really nothing being like.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
just
him repeating his same like values, like oh, well, we took down that guy, like that means we're right once again, guys. Like we took him down, we labeled all the little we reduced all of his arguments into little tidbits. So that's it, we're done.
they feel like they're accomplishing something at least. God bless them, man.
God bless him. God bless him, dude.
It's like the
He's doing it.
people who genuinely feel they're like actually making a difference while voting and convincing other people to vote. Like that little self-righteous.
And getting upset, when you're explaining to them that, what and you know more than them about the fucking subject, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. That's why at the end it doesn't matter though, bro. Like, oh god, I was even seeing on Instagram, Dan Harmon was like, oh yeah, yeah, to do his little vote thing, and but you know what he fucking put up on Instagram? It was a video by ContraPoints. He's like, oh yeah, like, I've seen ContraPoints, but she really got this one right or good or whatever. Like, so if you're thinking of not voting or whatever, being incredibly silent about it, like, give it a watch. And I couldn't even watch 5 minutes, dude, like any of the other videos. And like, I even commented on, like, geez, like, all your shit's always cringe, but you fucking outdid yourself here. Like,
And it's all
congratulations.
yeah. It's always like whenever you go on it's like an
It,
instant
it
reaction.
hurts.
Yeah, it's an instant bodily reaction. The same way they claim it is whenever they have to deal with anybody that doesn't fit in their bubbles. Like, oh, I can't even, like I just
Yeah.
can't deal with this for like a second.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know, talking about this spiritual shit and shit, when you like feel empathy or you have like that, that aura, or you feel people's auras, um it's very easy to like spot people. It's very easy to tell who
Oh,
they
yeah.
are, how they are. And so when you see something like that, like ContraPoints and shit, and it's like an immediate like exactly what they are, exactly who they are, exactly what they're about to tell you. Like basically their whole life in like 5 seconds. And then they spend like an hour trying to do a video, and it's like you've added nothing. You've literally added nothing to my life. You've added nothing to my mind. You've added
Oh, yeah.
nothing to the discussion. It's like it's the confirmation of bias where these people already have these like thoughts, and then they're like, all right, let me go to school so I can learn all the words to say in order to combat when anybody goes against this one idea.
Yeah.
Let me learn every single book in the library that deals with this, and let me point out all the parts that back my discussion up, and none of the ones that go against my ideology.
That's what I'm here to win, to learn how to win.
the Oh man, I'm so glad you brought up ContraPoints. I fucking hate that cunt. I fucking hate him.
Dude, Yeah, the point was really stupid too. Just that she was already making like, oh, right now it doesn't matter if like Joe Biden's not a better, whatever. It's because a vote for him is a vote against Trump,
Hmm.
and that's what's important. I'm like, so yeah, you're basically saying all this other shit is stupid, pointless bullshit. Like you're just specifically
Yeah.
just don't want this guy to get a
Yeah.
vote. Like that's not using the voting system for what it's supposed to be for. Like so you're never ever gonna make a good vote or a good decision
Hmm.
towards something good. You're
Yeah.
always just gonna be like, well, I mean, I just want to vote the lesser of two evils. I'm like, yeah, but they're both evil. So instead of having, Trump, who's, oh, he said some shit against trannies sometime. Now you're gonna have fucking Biden sniffing all your little girls' pussies. Like, dude, I like you're willing to have like really like
Hmm.
you're that fucked like instead of just being like fuck both of these guys like because
Exactly. Yeah.
what are we gonna choose? It's not like we can just write any name in, can we? Like I that's
Oh
what
man.
I want to point out to everybody too. Like I would actually vote and tell people to vote, but I would tell them just write your fucking shit in.
Right
Fuck
in
all
it.
the choices because you
Right
don't
in it.
even know who those people are or whatever. Like then I would condone it, like. But if you're just going to just play the game and just it's just a waste of energy, waste of time. Like at least to me, anyways.
These are, I mean, these are the same people who like they want you to go out and like beat Nazis. They want you to be out on the street like Antifas and like beat Nazis, beat
Yeah,
anybody who's like holding up a sign that's anti-abortion. Um,
yeah, yeah,
anything that's against them, anything that's against their quote unquote religion, because they won't say it's a religion, but it is. It's a complete dogmatic,
yeah,
obsession with not ever changing, like not ever changing your fact. That's the thing. You mentioned the not voting. Um, that used to be a thing when I was growing up, and I was really affected by it. That everybody like jerks off to this day. Everybody like jerks off George Carlin.
yeah,
Um, he's like the one edgy guy that gets a pass, and the only reason
right.
he gets a pass, there's no question about this. The only reason is like his
Man.
atheist. No, not just because he's a Jew, but like he just rode that atheist shit.
You're right, 100%.
It's the same people that are just like, God isn't real, and none of this is real. Atheism, atheism is the only way. Nihilism, shit like that. But they don't stand. On the other end, they don't stand for anything against like that's actually like reality. It's just vague terms, being against certain things, but not
Yeah,
never actually doing any legwork against it. It's always the easiest option, go out in the street and just brick some Nazi in the head, make a concrete milkshake and throw it at whatever the fuck, there's no actual follow through. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and so that was a big thing is George Carlin saying there's no point in voting. It's all a big club. You're not in it. If you don't vote, then you can't be one of the idiots that voted for whoever won or whoever lost. And in the past few years, especially with Trump, well, mainly only with Trump, that's all gone. Like everything that you just circle jerked over for the last 30, 40 years, it's just gone.
yeah.
There's
All of a
no
sudden, it matters.
hmm Suddenly everything matters. Suddenly, we have this evil, terrible person that we all
Oh
have to
yeah,
stand up
that
against.
that's what I love, man. Like how demonized this one guy out of all the other
One guy.
presidents too, which I always keep saying it's just the new this version or generation's Ronald Reagan, man. That's it.
Yeah,
Just the
literally.
next celebrity fucking dude that can sway a lot of old people with his charm, his
Literally.
charisma, you know.
I mean, there's so many hypocrisies that you could point out, and
Yeah,
it's very hard because the way I see it is like you have a like a dam, right, and it's like falling apart, and you have like 100,000 people that are in one spot, like blocking up the same hole, and there's like 1,000 other holes, and everybody's like, we have to stop, we have to stop this one hole, even though there's people standing around not even doing anything, they're just kind of watching the other people block it up. They could go to another hole and help this dam from falling apart, but they don't because it's not politicized enough. They don't see, they don't care about actually plugging up the holes. They just care about being seen as one of the person who's actually plugging up the hole. So it's all about the vision. It's
Yeah,
all about the TikTok, the Snapchat, the looking like you're doing
true.
something and not actually doing
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, at the
Um,
end, it's like the ego aggrandization, or it's kind of like getting that instant gratification, but on that other level, of like, oh, I'm being proactive, I'm doing a positive,
Mm,
thing in my community and giving a good whatever by just talking or by
mhm,
saying what I had to say and being courageous in that,
mhm.
like,
I'm so courageous. I'm gonna say something that literally 100 other thousand people have tweeted and got millions of fucking upvotes. I'm gonna
gonna
be so
say the thing
courageous.
that's gonna offend the Christian Trumpista.
You know what, Trump? Fuck you. Like, oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
that's it. That's the video right. Yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know what,
literally it.
Trump? Go
Fuck
fuck
you.
yourself, fucking asshole. It's just like, all right, dude. Like, if you
I'm gonna
don't
say it how it is.
it's like, yeah, like if you look around and you see the idiots that are like that, you really don't pay them any mind because it's like they're literally the lowest of the fucking low kind of idiots. Like, so it's like you don't even like you see all these people that are wasting all their time like arguing with literal fucking bumfuck rednecks, like racist rednecks,
Yeah.
and you're just like, look at how stupid these rednecks are. Like, why are you why are you wasting your time trying to tell some guy, as you admit, he's in some town that doesn't mean anything, he's never going to go anywhere in his life, he's never going to amount to anything. So just let him sit in his fucking shit, like let him sit in his fucking shitty diaper,
Well,
drive
that's
his
the point.
F-350.
Because they're supposed to be all inclusive and non-racist and shit, but you can only be non-racist against the people who have been,
No.
I guess apparently gotten a lot of racism in the past. So you can't focus on all the new racist, shit coming out because you can only focus on one thing at a time, I guess.
Yeah, so anytime you ever speak about this, or anytime you say, "Hey, you know what? There's 100,000 people shitting on a redneck guy who really doesn't mean anything. Let me be the one of the 10 people that are like talking about this one issue." And there's no way to do that without people like, "Oh, well, why aren't you talking about this other shit? Why aren't
Yeah,
you talking about this other
yeah.
shit?" Why do we need 7 billion people on the planet saying, like, tweeting every minute, Trump sucks, Trump sucks? Like, all right, like, there's fucking more to discuss.
A
Trump,
lot of things that suck.
yeah, Trump is fucking you in the ass, but you have these other people
Mhm.
here who are like tickling your balls, like
No, exactly.
you
Other
gotta
people
care
who are.
about it. You gotta do something. You gotta do something more than what everybody else is doing, like if you
It's
see
just
a
like
call, I'm sorry.
I'm just thinking it's like the human need for violence or aggression, or
Hmm.
we've have it in our blood, right? We have to be going out there hunting, chasing, and fucking capturing and killing and devouring stuff. You know what I mean? But all of that's been stripped away. We've been very sterilized and institutionalized and domesticated. But so now it seems like almost in a way the only solution for all these people who are doing this shit, because there's a very high probability I bet none of them have served in the military. I'm just
Nope.
guessing. So maybe mandatory military might actually, be beneficial, or at least mandatory, boot camp or some shit.
Just
It's
like
like,
the Jews and the Russians, and there's all these populations that do it, and it does promote a sense of like community.
oh
South Korea
yeah,
is the biggest one. Like South Korea, everybody points to, like everybody loves South Korea, but of course they ignore the parts that they don't like, which
always.
actually helps contribute to that society that they love, but they never want any of the benefits of it. It's the way people were always talking like, "Oh, we need to socialize this and that," and then people point out, well, the few countries that you're pointing out that has that socialism, they do happen to be like primarily white, homogeneous, fucking countries. And the reason why they do this is because they do have this sense of like society. And the more you change society to be something that you don't recognize within yourself, then the less you're going to be wanting to actually like
Be a part of it.
promote. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why it's always a big thing every 4 years. Black lives matter, black Lives Matter, and nobody ever stops to think that the reason why nobody stops to think the reason why it's so controversial is because there's like a million people that are like, how are we still on this? Like, how why are we still on this? Like, yeah, there's racists, but they literally live in a fucking a trailer in Minnesota. Like, who fucking cares that these people
It's like
exist?
they segregate themselves away from the people they don't like. Isn't that? And like, oh,
Hmm.
that's racist. They shouldn't segregate. I'm like, bitch, what the
Hmm.
fuck? Like now you can't have your own preferences. Like I want to hang out with my other hick friends. Like no, I gotta
Yeah.
hang with this Negro because the
Hmm.
government says that I'm not being compliant enough with the affirmative action laws.
It's the same way that somebody like Barack Obama, who has literally nothing in relation to the average black person in America or even the world, and he's
Yeah,
somehow representative of like the common black folk. Like, well,
yeah,
guys, my skin is dark, and one of my parents is from Kenya, and I'm from Kenya too, but shut up about that. But
yeah.
all these black people are the same as me, even though I grew up with white parents in Hawaii and I went to law school, which 90% of black people will never be achieved.
No one
Listen to
really
me.
thinks
I'm
they're
exactly like you.
yeah, because they're being 100%
Hmm.
racist still at the end of the
Yep.
day. Like I'm voting for the black man. Like
Yep.
all right,
And it's
do you
just
know anything? No, he's black. Like okay,
the same thing they accuse white people of. Like, Trump is not like you. Trump doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, you live in a trailer. Trump has nothing to do with you. It's like, but you have already confirmed that it is
yeah,
something within the normal population where
yeah,
just seeing as they talk about Black Panther and all that shit, just seeing someone your color or someone that your mind subconsciously relates yourself to and your society and your person, that's like a subconscious thing that you can't get away with. And so they have to always pressure this where that you think in this way, like that you're always thinking in this way. And you have the middle ground of people who are like, yes, racism is bad, but it's literally not. Like, there's more that we need to discuss at this moment, that is
yeah,
dividing us, but they
yeah,
keep pushing it because it's such an easy thing, because it's like, of course this is bad. How, like, what else is there to do? And then when you have these people that are being hammered in their brain shit that they already know,
yeah,
then it's like being in class and they're teaching you a lesson you learned in second grade. Your mind is gonna fucking start thinking about other shit, and you're gonna start thinking, why are they telling me this all the time?
yeah.
What are they trying to hide from you? What are they trying to cover up? What behind the scenes is more important than this that we're not learning about right now? My
Yeah,
mom,
it's,
let me
uh-huh.
see. The fuck?
Yeah, something people don't think about is like how there's like the known unknowns, like known knowns, but the unknown unknown. Like we don't know how much shit we don't know, and like that fact alone should be enough to open up a lot of people's minds at least to some more possibilities other than what they currently think
Mhm.
of.
I've been watching some stuff, and I think this is good. From Jared points out, he said my mom's old black friend voted for Obama just because he was black. Only reason, and you can go back to 2008. You can find, if they haven't scrubbed it from the internet, you can go back and find so many people where that was their sentiment. Like, it literally doesn't
Yeah.
matter what this guy is doing. He's black. He's one of
Yep.
me. I want a black president. That's it.
Yeah, that's the extent of which politics is,
Hmm.
You're not making really any change or impact on the world. It's like being a part of a sports team. Oh, is the sports team going to play differently because the fan over here isn't cheering for him? We need to have all the fans cheering
Hmm.
together in order to siphon enough energy to get the ball into the fucking hole. Like, sure, the people who believe that shit, right? The magic of the fucking whatever gay ass crap, but it's the same thing with politics. It's like you just get involved, you root for your
Hmm.
team, and hopefully they win, and you get happy afterward and play sated for another fucking 4 years.
and
Every
and
yeah,
uh and these
every four
people,
years is when you think about it. That's it.
every 4 years, yeah, every 4 years, and you can see the Google Trends. Go to Google Trends, search up Black Lives Matter. It's only a thing in 2016. It's only a thing now in 2020. I bet you, I don't have the
2012.
money, but I bet, or what is it, 2024? It's gonna come up again. Black Lives Matter, and there's not gonna be anything in between now and then in the Google Trends. because it's something that we all agree on. Racism is bad. Only the fucking bottom percent of the retards that live in whatever never met a black person before, those are the ones who are racist, and they literally mean nothing. They literally
Yeah.
mean nothing, except I guess if you look at the election, they win all those 100,000, country states in the middle of nowhere. They're all red, and it's because there's no outreach to them. Like there's literally no outreach to
Yeah.
them. There's nothing that's saying, "Hey, you're just like us. We're just like you." It's just a constant barrage of, you don't live in a city. You're not fucking one of us. You've never interacted with a black person. Like you don't eat pasta minestrone or whatever the fuck it is. You don't eat avocado toast. You're
Yeah.
not you're not a sophisticated person, and any of the troubles that you have in your state, you're going bankrupt, you're going broke, just fucking learn how to code. Nobody gives a fuck about you. You're a worthless piece of shit. And then you see a guy that's like coming up on TV that's pretending to like represent you, Trump. And of course you're gonna fucking go for it. The same way that the black people went for Obama, even though he literally had nothing in common with a black person. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing. Just his skin. And that's it. And if you think about it further, he's so far removed from black people that he's not even an African American. Like, there's so many black people who came to the America and they want to like claim their ancestry as being slaves and shit. Like Obama literally can't do that. His parents were
Yeah.
from Kenya. He's not even like one of those marginalized, repressed, slaved people. His
Yeah.
family was probably one of the ones that sold the slaves to us. Let's
Yeah,
fucking be
man.
honest.
Mm.
Um, but what I wanted to get into that with is like lying. Like you have these people who you can go back and you can see how many people there were that did it. But when you talk about it, people say you're lying, or they don't believe it. They don't want to believe it. Um, but they'll do the same thing to you, where like if you say something, they'll claim you're lying. They'll claim that they know everything about you. They claim that they'll know like your whole reasoning and shit like that. You can literally have like a journal or something that says, like I believe this and that, and then when you say to somebody that they're like, no, you don't believe that, like you're lying,
Yeah.
just completely, and you can just completely dismiss like basic facts. You know what I
Right.
mean? Basic facts about everybody. It's like, oh, people voted for Obama because he was black. No way. But of course, people voted for Trump just because he's white. Like,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
this happened. Um, what I want to end off here because I do have to go very soon. But what I want to end here is we have known we have known forever ancient cities, ancient countries, empires know
Yeah.
that in order to rally people there has to be a common enemy.
Oh
There
yeah.
has to be something that you point to where everybody goes, you know what, you're right. We have, who cares about everything else? We have to put our lives down on the line to go out and fight, the Mongols or whoever the fuck it is. So in that extension, everybody knows that there's like the war on drugs, a piece of shit, useless thing that was only used in order to, do racist shit to,
Yeah.
put poor people in jail in order to get free slave labor, in order to get money by selling these illicit drugs, in order
Oh
to
yeah.
start this dynamic of terror and gangs fighting each other, funding Nigeria, the Congo, like all these people with weapons and drugs and money.
Oh yeah.
CIA using it to fund their own black site operations. This is all on paper. This isn't conspiracy theory shit.
Yeah.
They have a movie that came out I think last year with fucking Tom Cruise. Like this shit is out in the open. They do this shit. They continue to this day with the war on drugs, but they did move on to the war on terror in 2000.
Yep.
And so it's this complete sham where like everybody goes, of course we don't want terrorists. Like of course these people are bad, and they're like, okay, so you have to give up your freedoms, you have to give up your rights. Like no, like we just have
Always.
to we just have to take out the terrorists. But it's this vague
Yeah.
idea that everybody can get behind, and that's what we're seeing now with Trump. It's just this. He represents the evil, white, racist Republicans, the people who get money and don't give it back to you. Even though Trump could have just spent all that money on hookers, but he could try to create jobs. But don't
Right.
say that. So there's this basically this person, this villain, where you wake up, You go on Twitter, you go on Reddit, whatever the fuck, and the first thing you see is Trump is a fucking evil piece of shit. You go throughout your whole day, Trump is a piece of shit. Trump is a piece of shit. You go to sleep, and the last thing in your brain is like, oh, I hope Trump dies. Like it's this ongoing spiritual, like your mind is caught up in this thing where you can't look past this
Yeah,
evil villain.
yeah, they're demons possessing people, forcing them to be obsessed with certain thoughts, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah, and so that's what we're seeing, like you said, with Joe Biden, ContraPoints, Dan
Yeah.
Harmon, that like they don't know anything except like this man has to go down, like this man has to
Yeah.
fucking
That's their
die.
agenda, yeah.
We have to
Hmm.
put him in prison. We have to kick him out of power. Everybody involved with him, like Russians and stuff like that, we have to get rid of them because somehow foreign interference is only bad when it's the Russians. Everybody else,
Oh,
hey, welcome New Zealanders and UKers, and go ahead and tell us how to live our lives over here in the U.S. But Russia, fuck no. So it's the ongoing war that they presented us with, and I don't think it'll go away with Trump because
of course not.
it started as the war on Trump, but it's gonna evolve to as we're seeing already, just war on Republicans, war
Well, I
on
was gonna say, I
conspiracies.
mean, shit, that's what, yeah, all this shit happened with the fucking Rona stuff,
Hmm.
man. Like, with the war on, yeah, people
Hmm.
questioning the narrative, and then the Black Lives Matter
Yep.
shit started happening after people were starting to get upset
Yep.
and starting to think about protesting the fucking, Rona lockdown crap. And so, definitely, it's always evolving to some new
Hmm.
fucking demographic or new whatever the fuck to enrage for a while and just waste all their energy, man.
So I mean, if you start thinking of it like that, it seems like a little easier to start pulling the strings because if you see it as just like the next evolution in that step, like the war on terrorism, everybody is kind of like, who cares now at this point. And so they have to find the new thing, the war against corona, the war against quote unquote misinformation, which means just censoring shit.
Yeah.
So that they've done the same thing that they accuse these people of doing, like the Republicans and shit, and they're just doing it on their side now. It's like
Oh, of course.
yeah, so we have to do this war against Trump and the Republicans, and we have to have the whole war effort. We need everybody in the U.S. to be making vagina hats and vagina scarves. Like it's this
Yeah.
whole big encompassing thing where if you're not one of us, you're against us.
Yeah, it's
Some fuck now.
because we have the Republican in office, so everybody's got to be. All the
Hmm.
liberals have to express their
Yeah.
disdain up until the liberal now gets in office, and then you're gonna hear all of the other conservatives expressing their disdain, like, man, we need to get back to whatever, and
Hmm.
then it's just a goddamn fucking ping pong, the same goddamn shit every fucking 4 years. It's nauseating, man. And
Yeah.
everybody thinking it fucking matters, like fuck.
Yep. Yep. And that.
It's they're young as fuck kids too. That's the main
Mhm.
thing. It's just, I mean, it's like that quote: "Empty vessels make the loudest sound." Man, like the fucking most idiotic, moronic fucks are the loudest fucking faggots.
Yeah, because as you said, like once you actually start learning more and more, like it's hard to be like an arrogant piece of shit about it. Like it's hard to sit there and be like, "This is it," because you're not like a narcissistic piece of shit. You
Yeah,
try to be level headed and a centrist
yeah,
as much as possible, and so yeah, you have
somewhat
to.
objective. Yeah,
Yeah, so you have to listen to people who have none of that whatsoever. They
mhm.
don't care about objectiveness. They don't care about actual reality because anytime they face any piece of reality that like contradicts their ideology, they try to hide it. They try to shut it down as much as possible.
Yeah,
And the most intellectual or academic thing to do is be like, you're completely right, like this is bad, but this is how we're going to fix it, or this is how we're going to combat it. But you can tell when you're arguing with somebody like that, an empty vessel, because there's none of that. There's
yeah,
no actual justification. There's no actual eh, you know as they're saying on CNN a lot, they're mentioning this a lot, it's just whataboutism. It's all just whataboutism. If you point out what Trump does, people just point out, um, well, the Democrats did this, Obama did this, and if you point out what Biden does, they're like, you need to focus on Trump. Trump is the evil
oh,
piece of
back,
shit that we need to take down.
fucking
Love you
a.
too, Art Morte. Thank you, sir, for watching, listening. Love you. So that, I mean, it's just something like that where you have these things where they're right in your face, you believe them, and then as soon as you're um like you don't add anything to it. You have to have somebody else tell you to add it to your list. Like nobody, everybody wants to sit around and say, well, Trump supporters are retards and they can't think for themselves and they can't use context clues and shit like that while doing the exact same shit. I don't, you probably don't know this, but there was the guy in Portland that shot a Trump supporter. Does this ring a bell?
Isn't that always happening now, or I don't know?
Okay,
Doesn't
so
doesn't seem surprising.
okay, yeah. Well, that's why I phrased it that way. I wanted to see. So there's this random guy, that shot, stalked and shot this Trump supporter randomly on the streets of Portland, and he was actually given an interview by CNN, I think it was, or some other thing, where he's basically like trying to explain, himself and say it wasn't him, and this and that, and that he had to do it. Now, this is kind of like the people like in Rolling Stone magazine where they put one of the Boston Bombers pictures on the front page. You know what I mean? These people, they don't actually have any follow through of ideology whatsoever. They don't
Oh yeah,
actually give a fuck about fascism or anything like that. They're just told what is fascism.
yeah.
You can tell by doing Google searches of like the word fascism, and they say like, "Oh, it's an alt right ideology," and then you're like, "Well,
Jesus
what would
Christ.
be the left wing, equivalent of that?" So, who knows? Like it's just not possible. So of course there's
Yeah, because it's only a right wing thing.
by definitions, and fascism has to be right wing. It's like, all right, so what would be the
Damn,
left
dude.
equivalent of that? Oh, it's not. It doesn't happen. Whenever there's this, a socialistic, communist country, and then they become a dictators, then we can just, label them as right wing, and so, there can never be a left wing government that's bad.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
As soon as you do anything wrong, now you're right wing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jesus. Obama is my distant cousin. His mom's side and my mother's side.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Fucking Jared.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. This
Yeah.
Jared is tied in with some secret Masonic shit.
Oh yeah.
Um, but with this guy, um, he was basically eventually found by I think it was marshals, like U.S. marshals, and there's conflicting info, but the story as it probably went is that they come across this guy and they just riddled his fucking body, his cars with
God
bullets.
damn it.
They just destroyed this fucking guy, killed him. Um,
Fuck.
there's competing reports that they tried to talk to him and he pull out a
Self-defense. Yeah.
gun, or you know what I
Hmm.
mean.
Of
Um,
course, they'd
but
say
then,
that.
yeah, so then you have Trump who's like, the marshals did a good thing and this and that. And you have people who are crying because they're like, can you imagine the president is just, letting this happen where, we're just killing random people without a trial.
Wow.
And,
Really?
so you have to go, well, hey, look at this. We did have Obama who drone strike
A
like a
drone strike.
14-year-old
Yeah, dude.
kid. We have a guy,
Whoopsie.
whoopsie, yeah. And they'll find whatever, thing they can do to justify this. And just ask them like, well, hey, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just pointing out that this literally is not the first president to do this. This isn't the first time. And there's no way for them to reconcile that in their head. There's no way
Yeah.
for them to see anybody else as being as bad as Trump. Even though this is a great story because you probably don't remember this either, but one of the first drone strikes that Trump did when he was in office, I don't know if you remember, but he killed a 6-year-old American, or like a 6-month-old American. Do you remember that?
God damn it. No.
Now, the interesting thing about that is it is the younger sister of the kid that Obama killed.
That is too stupid.
It's crazy, right?
That
So
is too stupid.
it's fucking crazy. Now,
He was
that
just
was
trying
a
to do
big
the job, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a big piece of news. Like, oh, Trump, right as soon as he gets in office, he kills like a baby with drone strikes. He just doesn't
Yeah.
care, just this image of Trump just authorizing drone strikes left and right. And there was more coverage given to the killing of this little baby than there was when the first time it happened. And everybody
Yeah.
wants you to believe like it was the first time that this has ever happened. no, it's we're going into deep times, dictator times, because there's unmarked vehicles in the streets, and they're this and that. It's like, well, you literally were arguing that all of Boston had to be shut down. People could search through every single
Yeah.
building, going in looking for these Boston bombers just for Rolling Stone to put them on the cover of their magazine. And so there's always these previous events you can point to where this isn't new. Like, it is an ongoing war against us, against our freedom, against our ability to look at information,
Oh
against
yeah.
our ability to share information. As you're
Take
seeing now
it
with
up.
coronavirus, the ability to get together in public in order to talk in public, to get, you have to have a permit officially now because, you might spread coronavirus. But at the same time, they can have 100,000 people, protesting at George Floyd's funeral and this and that. And all you have to do is just point to like one scientist who is like, well, the protests might have actually stopped the spread of coronavirus. And that's it. That's
Yeah.
they just hand waved it away in your mind.
Always.
It's been just blanked away in your mind. Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody does. They pretend to give a fuck. That's the main thing that pisses me
Hmm.
off, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like, why do you act like you're so personally offended or care so much about this shit? Like, dude, like, don't you
Hmm.
just like, don't you just play video games and jerk off or something? Like, why the fuck? How does this affect you at all? Like,
Exactly.
why do you interject yourself in there and just to get pissed off? Like, it's fucking stupid. Like,
And it's like you said, you need that little thing. Like, you need to feel like you're doing something because it is so easy to fall into that pit, and then you start getting like a little bit of sickness inside. Like, you know what? Maybe I should start doing something with my life. And then you get
yeah,
on Twitter, and it's like, that's it. All I have to do is just post shit about Trump all day. I can still
yep,
continue with my shitty ass fucking life. I could still continue with destroying my body and my friendships and the relationships with everybody around me. I can be as not spiritual as possible, but it doesn't matter because hey, Trump is a fucking piece of shit, and
I sure told them I fucking made fun of them online and
I
I
fucking
said
got him.
something smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking got him. And so there's nothing else to like strive for a lot of people except that, and that's
Yeah.
why I think it's like like the war on drugs and the war on terror, it can unite people in their ability to like think that they're doing something, think that they have something going for to.
Yeah.
Have you seen the shit with the coronavirus? The color scale.
What? No. I don't know what that
Okay,
is.
so you remember back in the days, like with terrorism shit, they would always come out like today's alert is orange. It's an
Yeah,
orange terror alert, and then it would be like, oh, it's a red alert. They're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that shit now with coronavirus.
Of course they are.
They're doing that shit, and the green section, the safe section is stay home, stay safe.
Mm, wait, what?
Yeah, so or the red section, because it's super
Okay.
dangerous. So you got to stay home and stay safe.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, they're not gonna. They haven't changed their tactics. They're literally doing the same shit that like fucking
Yeah.
Julius Caesar and these dictators did 100,000 years ago. It's just
Oh yeah.
they just update it for the new shit. It's like doing
Hmm.
math. You're still doing addition. You just change the
Yeah.
numbers a little bit. It's the same
Yep.
fucking formula. It's the same fucking thing. And if you're not completely like, well, Trump is the most evil piece of shit I've ever seen, then like that's it. You don't have any voice. You don't have
Yeah.
any fucking thing. It's a sea of hypocrisy.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Sorry for ranting on this shit.
No, no, it's I mean it's true. It's literally the like same shit, different day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they didn't have to reinvent the fucking wheel. You know, they really didn't. They
They
just
did it. No.
like this shit still fucking works. Now you don't need coliseums with tigers ripping people's flesh off. Now you just have fucking football and like fucking superhero movies and blockbuster Netflix fucking or I mean I'm sorry Disney Plus shows.
Rest in peace, Blockbuster.
That's all everybody fucking talks about is fucking Mandalorian now. It's like it's there's always something that's the
Baby
new
Yoda.
college, yeah, and the new shit to keep you entertained, and only entertained.
Mhm.
Never really achieving catharsis or any sort of
Yep.
other glint of spiritual hope or truth out of any art, because that's cheesy and lame and gay. You have to show how stuff is meaningless, because that's real. It's the edgy new fucking Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
goddamn, like nihilistic faggots
I don't stand for anything
that are
except the
everywhere. Like,
most basic
it's
ideas
just
that everybody can agree on. Like, black people aren't, supposed to be shot in the streets. Gay people aren't supposed to be hung, just for being gay. Like, whoa, that's wow. Like, you've really brought a lot of intelligence to the 21st century.
so
That's how far
enlightened.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how far we've gone. Racism is bad. Like, okay, I learned that in second grade. Like,
I
has
know.
anybody moved past? Is there anything else for us to talk about?
Yeah, like, fucking, bro, like, this is why they still are oppressed, because, people like you don't take it seriously.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't take it seriously, at all because the Obama was president. That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to say. Obama was president.
Obama.
Obama. Obama. But again, he's not representative of the black culture, so him being president really doesn't mean shit. And they'll admit that today. It doesn't mean anything that he was president. It's just one guy. But to them at the time, it was this big deal. Um, he did all the shit that Bush did. He did all the shit that Trump is doing now. Trump's doing all the same shit that Obama and them continue.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
Always.
Yeah, he's just the newest evil guy. He's the guy that we need to make, little piñatas of his head and beat upside for fucking,
Yeah,
candies.
because then, well, you're all focused on him. You can't see the real motherfucking Jews. I mean, people fucking you in the ass. Like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you have pieces of shit like Sacha Baron Cohen, which I love his comedy, I love his shit. But he goes up and he has like these speeches. They let him do these speeches for like the ADL and shit, where he's
Yeah, yeah.
basically
I
talking
just saw
about.
one today, yeah.
Yeah, it's going around a lot. Where
Hmm.
his comedy is good. Like, and the anti
Oh, yeah.
defamation. You know what I mean. His comedy is good because
His
it's
comedy is
satire.
pointing out
Hmm.
where people are racist, and it
Yeah,
the Borat character showed the tolerance of
yeah.
anti-Semitism and all this and that.
Yeah.
Like,
And anybody else who does any comedy that's like close to that, but doesn't have 100 Jews on the cast of directors and executive producers, and doesn't get the little stamp of approval, like,
piece of
well, I'm a
shit.
Jew, I'm making fun of Jews, so therefore it's satire. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There's no they never let you have any kind of qualification like that. You have to get the stamp of approval beforehand. You have to be let in. You have to have an HBO show, Ali G, and this and that. You
Yeah.
have to move up the ranks. And again, love the guy, and there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. Like, it's straight up, but people will never apply it to anything beyond what they're given a pass on.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
Nobody will ever actually apply it. The same way they spout off this shit every day, like, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. It's like, well, the Obama is doing these things that Hitler did. It's like, oh, just not that piece of history. Don't ever, don't think of it like that. You know what I mean? And then Trump comes in
Yeah.
office and is like, did you know Hitler also wore a vest suit? He also wore a vest suit. Therefore, Donald Trump is just like Hitler.
Uh,
It's the new thing. It's the new evil thing. I mean,
yeah.
let's be honest. I'm sitting here, again, this all seems like I'm defending Donald Trump. Nothing I don't think would please me more than seeing Donald Trump get his face fucked by like ContraPoints. You know what I mean? Like, it would just be fucking hilarious to see the most racist, stupid piece of shit get raped by like a tranny in the mouth on TV.
Yeah.
Like, it
That'd be
would still be
interesting.
awesome. Yeah, it would still be awesome. I don't have reverence for this guy. I don't fucking care about this guy. He's
Yeah,
just
people take their shit too seriously. It's like, as whenever they vote or they're part of a side, it's like they identify so much with that side. I guess they don't have a sense of self or their own identity. They can't do it for any other reason. Like, oh yeah, I know it's all stupid, but I just do it because of whatever. It's like, oh no, like I am this side and I'm fighting. Like I'm doing anything to get my side to the fucking victory. Like I don't
Exactly.
know.
Anything to win.
Hmm.
Fuck all the ideology that I claim to be about. Fuck everything that we're gonna put into action when we win. It just matters that we win, and then once we get there, we'll go back to being, the good people that we pretend we are by our ideology.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally, as you said, it's the same shit, different day, and it does get really tiring.
Yes,
It gets
sir.
really fucking tiring seeing the same shit that like you were a kid going, oh, what's this about? And then you're fucking 30 years old and there's still people fighting against the same shit. And they want to blame everybody but themselves. They want to, they want to claim it's other people who are dragging them back and this and that. It's the same shit. There is people who are following whatever the media tells them, following whatever the social opinion tells them, not thinking anything beyond it. And so in this day and age, they exploit that and they use that to put in your head this shit and control you. Um, how many people do you think have killed themselves this year because of Trump? It's a
Not just
lot.
because of Trump. I figure because of Corona, but
Well,
yeah,
with
maybe
Corona, but
both.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to phrase it that way. But yeah, like the fucking yeah. How many people this year have committed suicide? Have done something rational or rash because they were told like there's no hope. There's
Hmm.
no fucking Trump is the
Yeah,
president. You're gonna die from Corona.
yeah.
There's this mass, as they call it, a mass trauma event. It is
Mhm.
being called a mass trauma event the same way 9/11 is.
Yes,
It's
sir.
this big it's this big stamp of tragedy on us that imprints us.
Victimhood. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the victimhood. And so Trump is just one of those things, like we're all gonna have to, in the year 2030, we're not gonna go back and be like, oh, Corona. We're gonna be like, oh, fucking Trump, thank God. Thank God we got rid of Trump and
I mean,
Biden
shit.
saved
I
us.
I guess so, man. I mean, do people look back and like, man, yeah, the good thing we got rid of Bush. Like, yeah, the
Yeah,
good thing we got
yeah.
rid of Clinton, or I don't know. I think people are just so short-sighted. They're gonna forget. They're not gonna give a fuck. I mean, yeah, there'll be some people who talk about it, like, but I mean, dude, I don't see anybody
On
talking about Bush or anybody else,
I
like,
mean, maybe it's because of the shit that I get into, but I mean, I see it a
right, right.
lot. Yeah, I mean, I see it a lot, and I see this sentiment, and as you said, I think people will forget about it if it's organic, But I think, like, I think he's the current evil guy, and they've
Well,
placed so
there's
much in
always
him.
that guy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
every single president always gets that.
yeah. I just think it was done, or it's
Ramped up or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's just like everybody in the past, but at the same time, no time in the past have we had like this level of fuckery going on, and in terms
Yeah,
of like deep fakes and Twitter and all
never,
this shit.
yeah, never had a president, also a tweet, at the as well. So now it's just new, more avenues for it to be in your face, compared to before, people could actually
Yeah,
insulate themselves
yeah,
and stay out of politics. But now anywhere on social media,
yeah.
it's there, like it's telling you to vote. You're seeing all this shit thrown in your
hmm
face. So
As Jared said a while ago, he said, "Now think of 24 hours news. You didn't have that in the past. Now they just repeat each other. So yeah, it's just the new evolution of it, it's just the new shit that we have, and yeah, it's easy, I of course I'm probably wrong about all this, but yeah, it's easy to look at it and see the way I am, like, yeah, this is the new, this is the new face of evil, everybody, this is the new Hitler. But I'm just getting caught up in the same shit. Like I sometimes I have to stop and be like, I like remind myself, like, oh yeah, I don't actually give a fuck about Trump,
yeah,
like it's just something that gets in you because the same way that they're like, oh, you're defending Trump, and, then you start to actually like feel, like you do have to defend him and stuff, and you have to stop and really. If you're not doing any kind of introspection ever, then that's the
yeah,
kind of person you are. You don't.
yeah, yeah. You just like fighting for something, you know what I mean? Or proving someone wrong on a certain, topic or idea, or trying to inform them where they might be misinformed, and it's
Yeah,
natural.
Obama tweeted, yeah, he did, but it's definitely it's definitely not like it is now, you know. And that's what they talk about Obama and shit is, you know, can't wait till we have another president again with respect and this and that, you know. While they were crying, you know, part of the reason why we voted in Obama is because he said that he was going to make everything transparent, you know. He started that change.org site where you could, you know, just feel like you're having some kind of change. Like his whole presidency was the, you know, he laid the groundwork for this to let
Yeah,
people have these like these little avenues where they can think that they're actually doing something and they're not,
yeah,
trying to be transparent. And then we have a leader who's actually transparent. You know, unfortunately he's too transparent, and you know he says every little thing that he thinks, and you know he's talking shit, but like that's, I remember that was for a long time what we wanted. We wanted, it's like, you know, I don't
yeah.
care if, you know, the president, you know, we have to see into the stupid parts of his mind. You know, we have to know everything about our president and what he's doing. You know, we have to have body cams on our police and our politicians. We have to know every little thing that's going on with them. And you know, it's just being as anything else. They use it in a way to like control us and manipulate us. We're now being untransparent or going back to like the old way of like not any kind of real words, any kind of real uh personality or soul. You just have to say the fucking PR version of your speech, and you have to go along with the corporate speak. Everybody works, everybody's like a an on standby, like a worker, you know what I mean? All your words, all your publicly social media has to be cleansed and be done in such a way where, you know, you might be able to advertise McDonald's, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is dumbed down. And so yeah, like it's the same shit different day, but this is just the new evolution of it. New
Yeah.
shit comes in all the time. There's always some new shit. And right now, Trump is what we have to get rid of. He's what everybody has to focus on. If you don't wake up and
Apparently,
go to sleep with Trump in your mind, you are an evil, racist piece of shit.
yeah. If you do that, their black magic, fucking satanic spell failed, and it's I think it's doing a good job keeping his fucking name in everybody's mind. You know.
I mean, yeah. If once he gets out of office, we'll see. You know, whoever's next, we'll see who's next once he gets out of office and out of the public spotlight. Um,
Yeah, yeah, we'll see how after this election how big Rona is gonna be and how
mm,
much it's gonna be dying down. I'm just looking at the venues, man. Once they start opening back up again, because it might not be another year or so.
Yeah, it's all a toss up, but Texas is one of the ones that does seem like they're just don't give a fuck. They're cutting unemployment benefits. They're cutting all kinds of restrictions, mask restrictions, the curfew restrictions. They're just going all in because they really don't have any way to exist otherwise.
Yeah,
The whole city, the whole state is run off of people working and doing shit.
yeah,
They reject any kind of like anything that seems kind of like socialism, and so now they just have to go, you know, the way Trump is. You just have to go full balls. Who cares how many people dies? Who cares the repercussions? But you just have to seem like you're doing what your base wants.
like it does seem like it's in a way almost lesser two evils, but it seems somewhat beneficial because at least because it's like people are gonna be dying either way. So at least in one case, you might as well have some of them have a fighting chance and actually work, and you know what I mean? Because I mean, all those other people that who were what they were gonna die beforehand. The only difference was all these other people who can't work are gonna die too. Then, like it's always some weird, way to get.
So yeah, there's always something, man. Um, but I gotta go pretty soon here. I'm pretty fucking hungry. But
Yeah, me too.
this is the secret beachside chat with Corey Feldman. Finally, we have Corey Feldman back amongst
Back,
us, back in the
baby.
ranks. And some would say better than ever because now he has excised the tumor called his wife from his body. And so we have Corey Feldman live, uncut, no restrictions, no bedpans, as we like to say. And
Mm-mm.
Woo!
woo, yeah.
100% uncut, pure.
Now, this was the first one back, so you know I started off kind of faulty here. But for the next one, I do want to do one tomorrow. I don't know if you want to do any research, viewers, and Corey Feldman yourself, but I really want to go into this Burisma shit going on with Hunter Biden
Oh, I have no idea. All right, I'll check it out.
and censorship. If you do watch Reawaken with JP, his latest video from today kind of covers
Oh,
the Burisma thing. You know, something
okay.
going on. So if you want to kind of get like an intro level grasp, Reawaken with JP does have a video on that for today.
I will check that.
Mm. Oh yeah, boys. So this is Secret Chat, Beachside Chat with Corey Feldman. I have gotten some comments lately. I have a comment today asking who was Corey Feldman, the bearded chubbo. Fuck you, fuck you.
Boo,
Yeah,
boo.
who is that? Who's that be saying that shit? Commenting who is Corey Feldman, the bearded chubbo? No, bitch. This is Big Bertha.
Hey, they've
Duh.
never seen Corey Feldman.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you?
Boo.
Yeah, both on Corey Feldman's behalf and mine. How could you mix this up?